We're trying out new lights. Well, the whole new setup, so.
How's it look, guys?
Well, the first thing I'm not happy with is how short I am.
Do you want to switch seats?
My seat has sunk.
There you go.
Stand up right? Yeah, no, I still need to be higher.
Are you just going to put yours way up higher than mine?
Well, what's with you accurate?
So it has been 6 months since we got married, and we've had a bunch of people asking all the details to our wedding, and so we put together a little blog post, and we thought we would do like a little bit of a Q&A for you guys as well, because we've been inundated with these kind of questions, and we thought what we'll do is like go through them and answer them all in one go. So, little disclaimer, we are both drinking vodka Red Bull right now because we're about to go out and celebrate.
And we have
friend.
been for like 3 hours. So apologies.
So this is a little tipsy Q&A that's wedding related.
Is there one thing that you regret that you did or didn't do?
No, absolutely not. I really honestly think what we did was the perfect day for us. I know there's different people that like different things, but we had 100 people, which I thought was not so big that it was like crazy overwhelming, and not so small that we, you know, couldn't invite some people and stuff like that. So I felt like we had the perfect amount of people. I felt like it was the perfect amount of like relax, and then like sort of the formalities and stuff like that. So I honestly look back on the day and just really fondly remember it.
I think, well, I don't remember any of it. So no, I don't remember any of the wedding. And so the one thing that I don't regret that I did this. I'm happy I did this. I'm happy that we got so many videographers and photographers, because there's a lot of things going on that kind of occupy your mind. So the fact that I can look back at the videos and the photos and go, oh, I forgot about that. I don't even remember the magician, but we had a great magician.
Yeah.
You know, and things like that. So the one thing I would probably recommend is make sure you get a really good video guy, because you're going to be so preoccupied with the wedding that you'll definitely want to look back after and go, oh, that was great, because otherwise you'll forget it.
Yeah, I feel like there are certain elements of the wedding that you put together for your guests. So like while we were off taking photos, we had a roaming magician, and we had like live music, a guy doing acoustic like singing and things like that. And that wasn't so much for us, that was to make sure that our guests had a great vibe.
We didn't even see the magician until the last minute. And he was amazing, but unfortunately we missed 90% of the show.
But you know, you're throwing an event, right? So you want to make sure that your guests are having a really great time. Even if you're off taking photos, they're not just standing around waiting for you. It's like, I don't think anybody noticed our absence for that like half an hour that
definitely
we
not.
So things like that, I think even if you don't remember them, the guests that attended your wedding will remember them.
For sure. We've got loads of questions, by the way, so I'm going to try and cherry pick the ones that I think everybody would like to be relevant. So that's what I'm going to go through. How many photographers and videographers did we have? We had 8. Including myself?
No, we actually had one official photographer, that was Jared Singh.
Yes.
And one official videographer, that was Sam Evans.
Yes, but then we're very lucky because of what we do with work. All of our friends are cinematographers or photographers. So everyone came together with their cameras and passed me the footage at the end of the day. So that's why there's so much variety and so much content in the wedding video, because we had 8.
It was literally the most insane video for Kane to edit, because normally he's got like his own camera and his own drone footage and stuff like that, and he just like goes through a timeline and, you know, edits it together in a few hours. Whereas this, he had like the same timeline but on 8 different perspectives, because all our friends like Rob Mullally and Alex Hayes and like all these great guys who create really amazing content were like, yeah, I'll bring my camera, I'd love to shoot some content for you guys. So they all contributed and just pitched in.
There's a lot of questions asking about the workout that you did to kind of fit into your dress. At the end. Maybe that's a different video.
Yeah, I feel like I need to like, this is a whole video in itself. So I will talk about my pre-wedding diet, because I did drop like maybe 5 kilos or so for it. And now I look back on the photos and I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I find all those 5 kilos again?
Why why did you choose to have a nude colour dress instead of the typical white dress?
I don't know. I think I really like texture. So for me, kind of this traditional white dress was never what I pictured myself in. I wanted something that had like sheer elements and then a lot of texture and just something that was a little bit different. And also when we chose the venue, it was a garden-based venue that had a huge tree, and I kind of wanted my dress to be a bit of an extension of that. So if I had chosen a bit more of a modern venue, I would have gone with a bit more of a sleek, maybe a satin white dress. But because I was there, I felt like the dress needed to be a bit organic looking. And so what I was envisioning when I was designing the dress the entire time is like, you know, a forest fairy kind of coming out of the roots of the trees and just being like an extension of the area itself. And so honestly, that's what I was thinking of.
I'm sure you were.
Did I not look like a forest fairy?
Yeah, a little bit.
So that's honestly what I thought. I was like, what would, you know, someone who's in hinterland country, this natural kind of environment look like? So what I did is had a natural base, and that was very sheer, and then on top of that I put all these floral embellishments, and they were different colors. So there was white, and there was a little bit of ivory, and then also nude. So it just had
gold bits.
Yeah, it just had a little bit more texture to it.
Next question, why did you choose to not have any bridesmaids?
Oh, I didn't have any official bridesmaids because it was quite a small wedding. It wasn't a huge amount of people, and everybody that came and made the effort to come, I wanted them to feel equally important. Like, I didn't want there to be a hierarchy where, oh, these 6 girls are going to go and have fun and get ready together, whereas everybody else is, you know, not quite as important. So we just decided that everybody that was coming was, you know, equal in a sense, and I didn't have any bridesmaids, and I think that was really nice for us because it made the ceremony really easy. Like, it was just Kane and I up there. It was a really intimate moment, and it also made it a little bit quicker because I didn't want the ceremony to drag on for too long. So it was quick, it was intimate, and it wasn't a huge wedding, and it just seemed right for us.
If someone said, would you change anything? I would say no.
No.
Did I really change my last name to Muehlenbeck? Yes, if you're English, it is a 7-part process. It's quite hard to do. I'm still in the process of doing it. I think traditionally people go for the man's name, but ultimately tradition is just something that was set in place by people probably a little bit less intelligent than this generation. So I thought, well, why not? You know, I don't know why the girl has to choose the man's name. It's like, if we want equality and we want to move forward in the world as a kind of a society, it shouldn't matter. So that's why I did it.
It's 2019, people.
There's a lot of questions asking how much the wedding cost. I don't want to kind of go into that because everyone has different budgets, but what we have done in the link below this video is a list of everything we did and the supplies that we used. The wedding was not sponsored, we paid for it ourselves, so I think that's probably a better way to explain it. It means that you guys can go and approach, you know, the wedding photographer or the florist or whatever and work something that works in your budget.
I think it honestly probably looked more expensive than it was because it was well styled. You know, if you think about the colors that you're choosing and what your styling options are, I think you can go a long way without having to go absolutely crazy.
Show us your wedding bands, Pia.
Oh wait. Oh no, they're back to front. I should have fixed that before starting this video. Kane lost his. Can everybody give him like crazy amounts of shit for this?
We should start a GoFundMe because I don't want to buy another one because it's expensive.
GoFundMe?
If you want me to really be married, guys, donate below.
Please do not donate to this clown.
No, so what happened was 6 weeks after we got married, so February, we just got back from our honeymoon. I went to the gym, took my ring off, put it in my gym pocket, and I just started like kind of doing gym stuff. And
which
then,
in his terms is literally sitting on Instagram.
I trained very hard at the gym. And then when I got home, had a shower and tried to find my ring, it had gone. So I think it must have fallen out when I was kind of laying back on a bench and someone's picked it up and taken it. So yeah, I am trying to find a new one, and when we save up some money, I'll get another one.
So Kane got me a really beautiful engagement ring. It's a princess cut diamond gold band, actually, because I do wear yellow gold jewelry. So that was my only thing that, like, I would send my mum photos of ideas for engagement rings beforehand. So when Kane decided he wanted to propose to me, he called my mum and she was like, yeah, I know what she wants.
Her mum knew exactly. I was like, hey, Petra, so I'm thinking of proposing to Pia. And before I could even finish the sentence, her mum was like, okay, so what you've got to do is this. And I was like, wow, okay, so you guys have talked.
I just want to caveat that this is not that crazy, because at this point we'd been together for like
9 years.
9 years. So
Yeah.
like I was expecting at some point he might propose to me.
We were broke for the first 7, so like, we had no money, so I couldn't get engaged anyway, because I couldn't even afford a ring. Do you think marriage, this is an interesting one, and I'm curious, I actually want to know what your answer to this is. Do you think marriage has brought you two closer together?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know, look, we have lived together did you shake your head? I saw that in the viewfinder, are you kidding me?
I just think this made me fatter. I'm like, oh, I've got her now, I'm gonna have some donuts.
Done and dusted. It's
Pia's a romantic, that's what she's trying to say.
I'm such a romantic, but also we've been together for a really long time. We've lived together since 2010. We, you know, work together. We spend so much time together. So our day-to-day hasn't really changed at all, to be honest. But there's this weird kind of feeling that you get about being like, you know, your team members, you're in the same team, you're husband and wife, you're like in it for the long run, and it's just this like vibe that you get, and it's so weird when people are like, oh, is that your husband? And I'm like, yes it is. All of a sudden I feel so like grown up and adult.
Oh, this is a good one. What were the defining moments that made you realise that I was the one?
I knew he was the one very early on. There's just no one that I've had this kind of connection with. There's nobody that talks to me the way that he does. We're on the same wavelength. We have this hilarious banter with each other. We just kind of get each other. And since the day that we met, we were just completely inseparable. And it's been like that for a really long time. And we hang out together all the time. We work together. We live together. We know everything that's going on. Yet we never have nothing to talk about.
No.
You know, I think we're just on that same wavelength, and I just always felt at home with him. So
Well, I think because when we started our relationship, we were long distance. We had to become, and this is kind of cliche, but we had to become friends first. Because normally when you meet someone and there's a bit of a connection, it gets physical before it becomes friendship, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But we would only see each other like once every week or two, because she was in the Gold Coast and I was here. So from that viewpoint, most of our first kind of like 6 to 9 months, we were on the phone or on Skype.
yeah.
And if you haven't got something to say on the phone, the conversation dies and the friendship dies. And that was kind of, that kind of built us up actually better than if we were in the same room all the time. I think. Like I long distance relationships, I would never recommend. It was the hardest thing in the world, but the end result, I think, is a much stronger friendship.
Yeah, we just kind of actually fell in love with each other as people and as personalities, and it wasn't just a physical attraction. It was, you know, we'd be on Skype for 4, 5, 6 hours, and we'd entertain each other, and that was, I think, really unique.
Which is great, because now I'm getting chubby and she still loves me.
Still love him. No, you're not getting chubby at all.
No, I'm working out. I'm on a training regime and I'm losing weight.
We both are. Married bods.
Married bods. It's a new thing. Oh, this is a good one. Did you plan the wedding yourself or did you hire a planner?
We had a planner, but the planner was very much in contact with us about every step of the way.
Every step.
So basically we picked everything and designed everything, but they would, you know, do the legwork for us.
Yeah.
Because we were still working, we work for ourselves. It's really hard to, you know, plan an entire wedding. So it was really, really helpful working with such a capable wedding planner. And I cannot recommend them enough. We will put all the links in the description below for you guys so you can see who we worked with. But it was such a beautiful experience. And basically what happened was Shani would send me all these emails and be like, here's your options, what do you want to do, how do you want this to flow, and then basically I would go through and answer a bunch of questions. And there were so many things that I wouldn't have thought about, you know, like where to plug in the AV equipment and where the microphone goes, and like all these different logistical things that I'm just so glad we had a experienced wedding planner to put it together for us. But style wise and design wise, that was us.
All her. It wasn't me. When did you write your vows?
I wrote my vows in Byron Bay. And
When? How many hours before the wedding? That's
me?
Yes.
I was like several days. You wrote yours, I literally think, on the day.
So, Pia, I know that Pia got her stuff sorted because she watched the vlog. She was sorted a few days beforehand. My vows and my final speech, like the speech that you kind of give to your mates and say thanks for coming.
You last minute crammed it.
Yeah,
You
so
crammed it.
I kind of thought in my mind, I don't need to prepare this. I'm sure this bit will just pass and no one's going to worry that I didn't give a speech. But as it happened, everybody wanted a speech. So my friend Danny Clayton is, he's like a really great TV presenter. He's a really, really good guy on camera. So I pulled him to one side. I was like, mate, I need your help with my vows because I was freaking out. Danny worked with me and sat down with me probably for 15 minutes. And just kind of told me, he kind of prepared my brain. He was amazing.
But I wrote my vows a few days beforehand, and we kind of left it till we were in Byron Bay because we knew we had like 10 days there, and we wanted to be in that like sort of vibe where we were feeling like we were on holiday, we were preparing for the wedding, and I just needed... And I just like wanted like, you know, my creative juices to flow. So at one point I was sitting there literally sunbathing, and all of a sudden I was thinking about how I felt, and I just got out a like notepad and started jotting it down, and then I started crying because I get emotional about these things, and Kane just comes running over and starts filming me and putting it on Insta stories. It was the most embarrassing thing ever. Kane's like, ooh, content.
How did I propose? If you haven't seen our proposal video, we went to France on a job with my friend, or our friend Vanessa. We boated, what's the word? When you run a boat? We cruised from Paris right the way through France. At one point we stopped at the Palace of Versailles and I felt like the moment was right. I had the ring in my hand and I turned to Sam Evans, my mate who was there with us working, and I was like, mate, turn your camera on, we're gonna do it now. If you haven't seen it, the link is in the description below. It's kind of one of my favourite vlogs, so I think you should check it out, it's fun.
I want to prepare you for this sobbing mess.
Oh, she cried so much, it was hilarious. Where did you get your dress from?
I got my dress, I had two dresses actually. So I had my big ceremony dress, which was absolutely huge and it was kind of like the wow factor. And then I got into a reception dress afterwards, and both of them were created by Palace Couture, who are in Double Bay, just around the corner from here. And they're just the most amazing designers. They totally took what I wanted and interpreted it in the most perfect way possible. So it was a really fun experience as well, because first of all, it wasn't too far from where I live, and second of all, there's such fun like ladies to hang out with. Every time I went in there, I'd like have a glass of champagne.
That's why she liked it.
I loved it. It was like this amazing errand, like, oh, I'm gonna go have a fitting, and then I'd go there and just have like the best time ever. I'd get this whole thing sort of fitted to my body, and the sleeves were actually a last minute addition. The dress was originally supposed to have tight sleeves that kind of had, you know, the florals and the vines growing up the sleeves as well, and I was just going to go with a long sleeve option. And then literally about a week before the wedding, Joe was like, listen, I have a crazy idea, do you want to have a go at this? Just hear me out. And she put this huge puff sleeve on one side, so one sleeve was like tight, like a stocking kind of thing up here, and then the other one she put this big puff sleeve on there, and was like, would you go for something like this? And I just for some reason was feeling really like excited and just had like no care in the world, and I was like, you know what, let's do it. This dress is like crazy enough as it is. Let's amp it up and do something that no one's gonna expect.
I didn't realise this until afterwards, but everyone was commenting that it's very Filipino style with those big puffy arms.
Yeah, I didn't know either. I just, you know, I kind of like a big sleeve sometimes. I think they make you feel a bit like, ooh, look at my arms. And for some reason I just really liked what it looked like, so I went for it. But apparently it looked like a traditional Filipino dress.
And I got my suit from my friend Cedric, who has a suit making company, which I'll link below. And it was kind of cool because his process is different. He comes to our house, he measured me up, then went away, came back with kind of a very rough cut of a suit that was a bit too long and not quite tidied up. He came back a couple of times after that to kind of just get it perfect. So when we actually went to the wedding, my suit was like perfectly fitting. And it was like, I've never had a suit fit before, so it was kind of cool. I really enjoyed it. This question has come up a lot. I didn't even realise it was something that people would necessarily care about, but how did you get everyone to wear the same colour?
So we had a wedding website, and first I was like, should we do like a white party? I like had this idea that we wanted to do kind of a white party, and then we kind of strayed away from that idea, and I wanted everybody to look sort of together, like one unit, like one team celebrating our wedding, and sort of it all to match the decor. So what we did is on the wedding website we had a bit of a mood board, and we were like, can everybody come in kind of natural earthy tones, you know, your browns, your beiges, whites, ivories, that kind of color, so it looked really nice and summery, and we didn't have people coming in black suits.
Yeah.
I just didn't think that the venue lended itself to black suits, and I assumed that a lot of the guys would wear black or navy or something like that, and I think it honestly made the wedding photos so incredible to have everybody dressed in like this nice light summery linen kind of vibe. So yeah, we just put a mood board on the website and that was it.
I will link our website. I've made it public now. So I will link our wedding invite, which was kind of an e-wedding invite. We didn't send out traditional paper invites. We just asked everyone to go to this website because it had far more information. So it had the information of where you can book a hotel from, because we weren't getting married in Sydney, we were getting married in Byron Bay. And I think people felt they were coming on an adventure rather than just going to a wedding. So make sure you check the link below. It's really handy actually.
Yeah. And everybody honestly had so much fun. You know when you're going to a dress-up party and you're like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like, I need to go shopping specifically. I need to get an outfit and stuff like that. I think it was that kind of vibe. Like, all the guests said that they really enjoyed getting dressed for it because there was, a really helpful kind of mood board about what we were thinking of what it should look like.
It just made it easy for everyone, I think.
Yeah.
People knew not to buy a purple dress.
Exactly.
Yeah. Would you do it all over again? Yes, we are doing it all over again on November 30. We are having an anniversary party, which will be pretty similar to the wedding. We actually sent out the invites to that the day after the wedding. We were so pumped after the wedding that I went onto Paperless Post, which is where we sent our invites out from, and I resent an invite out on November 30. So I haven't started planning it yet, so I'm freaking out now because I think we're in July now.
Yeah, we're in July.
But yeah, that's happening in 5 months. Damn, 5 months. Okay, I better get working.
Honestly, we really had a lot of fun throwing. It was essentially a party, it was our wedding, but everybody sort of came together and it was this really fun group of people, and we had, I think, the funnest party that I've ever had in my life. For sure.
I think you might be biased, but I agree, it was great.
It was so much fun.
As I said, I don't want to go into the cost of our wedding, but there was one question which kind of stood out, which said, how did you save up for the wedding? We had a wedding planner who, at the very start, told us how much the wedding would cost, and then broke down the payments over various points in the months leading up to the wedding. So when October rolled around, for example, she would start kind of hitting us up saying, hey, you got to pay $1,000 to these guys and $500 to these guys, and it kind of really made it a bit more manageable because nobody wants to be hit with a big old bill, and this made it really easy. So again, the wedding planner, whilst it was a bit more expensive, definitely made the whole day more manageable. If you could give one piece of advice to others planning their wedding, what would it be?
Don't worry about the ups and downs. I went through ups and downs. I was like...
Oh, she did.
Oh, yeah.
Ups and downs. Lots of downs.
I think it's pretty natural when you're planning a wedding to get a little bit, you know, stressed out about it.
If you're a girl.
Well, look, it's a lot to do. It's expensive. It's like, you know, you're spending a lot of money on one day and you want it to be perfect. But I think it's very normal for you to sometimes second guess what you're doing. I went through times where I was like, yes, this is going to be awesome. This is going to be so much fun. I can't wait. And then other days I was like, oh my gosh, why didn't we just elope and like go to Mexico with our families? And that was kind of it. But you know, at the end of the day, I don't regret anything that we did. I think we did it absolutely perfectly. And you need to think about what kind of day that you want to look back on. You know, at the end of the day, this is you making memories. This is something that, even if it costs some money and all that, it's something to invest in, because at the end of the day, what else are you working for? You know, you're working to make memories. What?
I'm working for a lot more things other than one party.
Like, you know, this is life. This is life. This is the things that you're going to look back on and go, yeah, I freaking lived it and I did this and this was my wedding and blah, blah. And look at the amazing day we had with all our amazing friends and family and stuff. And I don't know. So I just spoke to my friend Brooke, who was having sort of a same conversation, and she's like, oh my gosh, there's so much to do and so much to take care of. But at the end of the day, when it all comes together, you're going to have the best time ever.
I think the most important thing to remember, well, this helped me. I don't know if Pia even agrees with me because I've never said this out loud. For me, it wasn't that we were organising a wedding. I was just organising a kind of extravagant dinner, like a party, like an event. So I know that it wasn't, I had to take myself out of the equation and kind of understand to myself that I was planning a canapé event with champagne that started at 2 and a speech that started at 4 and a dinner that started at 6. And when I broke it down into that kind of, okay, we're just planning a day out for some friends, it took the stress off.
Yeah.
The only thing that was really stressful was on the day my shoes broke, which if you watch the vlog was incredibly stressful, but thankfully I fixed them. So other than that, it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So we've actually got a lot of other questions about relationships and how we manage our relationship, like do we argue and things like that. I think we should save that for another video because we're about to go out and this is more of a wedding Q&A. So if you've got any questions about relationships, comment down below. But I think we should end it here.
Yeah,
for the wedding stuff.
We're 6 months in, guys. We're the experts now.
Yeah, we know everything.
Well, I hope you enjoyed our little Q&A. We're more than happy to do a few more of them, and we have put together a little blog post on actual details of who we worked with for the wedding. So if that's of interest to you, head to that blog post, and we'll love and leave you. We're heading out. It's Saturday night, and we'll see you in the next video.